Hello friends, welcome to State Engineering Service Examination and SSCJ section of Winds of Change. In this video, we will cover so many questions that have a lot of probability to be asked in any of this examination. For any problem, you can mail us at windsofchange2020@gmail.com. You may like this video, comment on this video for any feedback and share this video to your friends if you find it useful. And to download the study material, you can go to the app of Winds of Change that can be available from the Google Play Store, the link of which is also being given in the description box. So let's begin. Welcome to third video in the continuation of top 80 questions of railway engineering. In this video we will cover question number 61 to 80. So let's begin. Question number 61. When semaphore and warner signals are installed on the same post, the stop indication is given when both arms are horizontal, semaphore arm lowered but warner arm horizontal, both semaphore and warner arms lowered, or none of the above. In this we should understand that semaphore and warner signal both are installed simultaneously, and on that the indication describes the different situation. So what will be the answer here? It will be option A, that is when both arms are horizontal, that means it has the indication to stop. Okay, you can see here the stop is like this. In this, first of all, semaphore arm it is horizontal, as well as the warner signal it is also horizontal. If semaphore arm is down and warner arm is horizontal, that means proceed with caution. And if both the arms are being lowered, that means we have to proceed, the train has to proceed. Okay, so memorize it, it is important. Next question. The side slopes of the embankment for railway track is generally taken as 1:1, 1.5:1, 2:1, or 1:2. What will be the answer? This is the ratio of horizontal versus vertical. So it will be option C, that is 2:1. Okay, memorize it, it is 2:1 ratio which is being provided for the embankment for a railway track. The permanent way cross section is being explained in the revision video of railway engineering. You can go to this video from the link in the description box. Next question. For a broad gauge route with m+7 sleeper density, number of the sleepers per rail length is 18, 19, 20, or 21. So how we will determine number of sleepers per rail length? First of all, for broad gauge track, the length of the rail per unit is 13 meter. Okay, so which is being indicated here by m. So total number, that sleeper density, which will become m+7, that is 13 plus 7 equal to 20 sleepers per unit of rail length. So option C will be the correct answer. Okay, we have explained about it, sleeper spacing and sleeper density in this video. In India, the sleeper density is represented by m plus x, where m is the rail length and x is the number which varies from 3 to 7. For broad gauge track, sleeper density is represented by like m+5 or something, whatever it is being given in the question, m+7. Next question. Which of the following types of sleepers is preferred on joints? CST9 sleepers, steel trough sleepers, wooden sleepers, or concrete sleepers? Here we are talking about the case of the joints. In case of the joint, which sleeper will be preferred? Where there is a joint, we require a flexible kind of sleeper which can be used as shock absorber. So we will use wooden sleeper because these are most versatile as shock absorber. Next question. Which one of the following rail fractures is caused by loose fish bolts at expansion joint? Crushed head, angular break, split head, or transverse fissures? Here we are talking about the rail failure that will be caused by loose fish bolts in the expansion joint. Okay, in case of expansion joint, if there is loose fish bolt, then the condition that will be observed is called as crushed head. This kind of condition can be observed, crushed head, on the surface of the rail. Next question. The main function of the fish plate is to join the two rails together, to join rails with sleeper, to allow rail to expand and contract freely, or none of the above. Here we are talking about the fish plate. What is the function of fish plate? Now fish plate are used to join two rails together. So we all know it. Option A will be the correct answer. This is the role of the fish plate. These are two rails and this is the fish plate which is joining these two rails. Next question. For a sleeper density of n plus 5, the number of the sleepers required for constructing a broad gauge railway track of length 650 meter is 975, 918, 900 or 880. Here we can see the sleeper density is given by n plus 5, okay, for broad gauge track. So for broad gauge track this n will be given by 13, okay, the value of n will be 13, so 13 plus 5 it will become 18, sleeper density will become 18, okay. So it can be obtained by 13 plus 5, that is 18 sleeper density per 13 meter of rail length. Now sleeper density per meter length if we have to determine, then it will be given by 18 by 13 sleepers per meter, and the track length that is given as 650 meter. So for 650 meter number of sleepers will become 18 by 30 into 650, which will become 900. So option C will be the correct answer. The procedure to do these kind of question has to be kept in mind. It is very easy. Understand it from this example. Next question. A train is hauled by 282 locomotive with 22.5 tons on each driving axle. Assuming the coefficient of rail wheel friction to be 0.25, which would be the hauling capacity of the locomotive? 15 tons, 22.5 tons, 45 tons or 90 tons. Here we are talking that the train is hauled by 282 locomotive. These are the number of wheels, okay, 2 number of wheel in the front, 2 number of wheel in the rear, and the driving wheels are 8. So number of driving axles will become 8 by 2, that is 4 number of driving axles are here, okay. And the load per unit of axle in the locomotive, that is 22.5 tons. So if we have to determine the hauling capacity, it can be determined from the formula mu and W, where mu value is 0.25 as given here, and that is number of driving axle which we have obtained at 4, and 22.5 is the load per unit of driving axle. So total it will become 22.5 tons as hauling capacity, which is given in the option B. So option B is correct answer. Next question. The limiting value of the Kant gradient for all gauges is 1 in 360, 1 in 720, 1 in 1000 or 1 in 1200. The Kant gradient will be specific for broad gauge as well as the other tracks, other kind of tracks. But if we have to find it for all gauges, that is true, it will be taken as option B, that is 1 in 720. The maximum Kant gradient will be limited to 2.8 mm per meter, that is 1 in 360 for broad gauge only. This one is only for broad gauge, okay, but for narrow gauge and meter gauge section, the Kant gradient should not be steeper than 1 in 720. Okay, so since here they are talking about all gauges, so we will take this value in the consideration. Okay, next question. The object of providing a point lock is, here we are talking about the point lock, to ensure that each switch is correctly set, to ensure that point may not be operated while the train is on it, to detect any obstruction between the tongue rail, or none of the above. So what will be the correct answer? Just think about it. Why we use the point lock? The point locks are used to ensure that each switch is correctly set. So option A will be the correct answer. This is the point lock. Okay, it is being provided to ensure that each switch is correctly set. Next question. The height of the rail for 52 kg rail section is 143 mm, 156 mm, 172 mm or 129 mm. What will be the, in the cross section, what will be the height of the rail? It will be option B, that is 156 mm. Okay, there are two cases, one is for 52 kg rail, other for 60 kg rail. Okay, now in the 52 kg rail the height is 156 mm, and in the 60 kg rail the height is 172 mm. Okay, so memorize it, it is also important. Next question. Head width of 52 kg rail section is 61.9 mm, 66.7 mm, 67 mm or 72.33 mm. So again we will go to the same cross section and we will find out what will be the answer. It will be option C, that is 67 mm. It is the head width. Okay, 67 mm. Next question. A train is hauled by 482 locomotive. The number of the driving wheels in this locomotive is. This is very easy question. We have already seen in one of the question that how we determine the number of driving wheels. Options are 4, 8, 12 or 14. In this 4 and 2, these two are front and rear wheels respectively. This 8 is the only driving wheel. Okay. Now number of driving wheels will be given here as 8. If they talk about the number of driving axles, then it would have been 8 by 2, that is 4. Okay, so here the answer will be 8. Memorize it. What is being asked, you should also watch it. They are talking about number of driving wheels, not the number of driving axles. Okay, so it is directly given here, number of driving wheels. Next question. For developing thinly populated areas, the correct choice of gauge is broad gauge, meter gauge, narrow gauge or any of the above. Here the population, it is thinly populated. Okay, if it is thinly populated, then we require the gauge in which there will be minimum width. So which one it will be? It will be narrow gauge that can be used in thinly populated areas. Next question. The slipping of driving wheels of locomotive on rail surfaces causes wheel burn, hogging of rail, scabbing of rails or corrugation of rails. Here we are talking about the situation in which driving wheels of the locomotive get slipped. The slipping of driving wheels of locomotive, what they cause to the rail surface? It will cause wheel burn. That is option A will be correct. It looks like this, the situation looks like this, where it will cause rail burn and physically it can be observed like this. This is the condition of the rail burn. Okay. Next question. Wear of rail is maximum in weight of tangent track, sharp curve, tunnels or coastal areas, where the wearing of the rail is maximum. Think about it. The wearing of the rail will be maximum in case of the sharp curves. Okay. In case of the sharp curves, the load on the axles will be eccentric. In that case, the load on outer wheel versus inner wheel will be having a highest difference. At that time, there will be the case of wearing and tearing maximum to the rail. Okay, so wear will be maximum in case of the sharp curve. Next question. For a 8-degree curved track diverging from a main curve of 5 degree in an opposite direction in the layout of the broad gauge yard, the cant to be provided for the branch track for maximum speed of 45 km per hour on the main line and g equal to 1.676 meter, and permitted cant efficiency for the main line is 7.6 centimeter. Okay, so here we have to obtain the cant to be provided to the branch track. So here we have to find out the cant to be provided for branch track. Okay, since speed is given 45 km per hour and g is also being given, so first of all we will determine the cant that has to be provided. Okay, now here 8-degree curve diverging from main curve of 5 degree. So curve on the main line is 5 degree in one direction. Okay, in let's say this is the main track and there is a branch line which is diverging from it in an opposite direction like this. Okay, this curve is 5 degree, this curve is 8 degree. So first of all the preference will be given to the main track and after that to the branch track. Okay, so on the main track, first of all we will determine that how much is the cant that has to be provided. Okay, option B will be the correct answer. We will see how it is. First of all, degree of curve on main track is given 5 degree. So radius of curve from the formula 1720 by r, it will become 1720 by 5, that is 344 meter. Now cant on the main track, that will be given by GV square upon 127r, which is the formula for the cant. It will be 1.676 into 45 square upon 127 into 344. So it will become 7.768 centimeter. Okay, this is the cant on the main track in, let's say, in the left direction when it is turning in left direction. Now degree of curve on the branch track is 8 degrees, so radius of curvature will become 215 meter. So cant will become from the same formula and same velocity, it will become 12.429 in opposite direction. Okay, first of all, this is a high level of the cant which cannot be provided. So how much we can provide the cant at this time where we are focusing on the main curve, we have to find out. Okay, since main line and branch line, they are in opposite direction, so achievable cant that can be provided on the branch line, that is given by permitted cant deficiency for the main line minus cant provided on the main track. Okay, maximum cant deficiency which is allowed in the given in the question, it was given that maximum cant deficiency that can be achieved is 7.6 centimeter. Okay, so maximum cant, that is 7.6 centimeter, that would have been provided at this transition minus the cant which was provided to the main track. So it was 0.168 and negative sign. Okay, that is 7.6 minus 7.768, it will become 0.168 centimeter which will be provided on the branch line. Okay, it cannot be provided for the value of 12.429 centimeter. So got the concept of it. Next question, which of the following turnout is most commonly used for goods train on Indian Railways? 1 in 8.5, 1 in 12, 1 in 16 or 1 in 20? At the turnout, which of the following turnout is most commonly used in case of the goods train? It will be option A, that is 1 in 8.5. Okay, not so important question. Next question, staggered joints are generally provided on curves on straight track when two different rail sections are required to be joined, or none of the above. Here we are talking about the staggered joint. The staggered joints are provided in case of the curve. Okay, it looks like this, the joint provided in the inner track and joint provided on the outer track. These two has to be staggered with each other. Okay, it looks like this. Next question and last question. Which of the following devices is used to transfer the wagons or locomotive to and from parallel tracks without any necessity of shunting? Triangle, turntable, traverser or Scotch block? Here the triangle and turntable, these two are used to reverse the direction of the locomotive. Okay, so it will not be the answer. So what will be the answer? It is traverser, that is option C will be correct. In on the traverser, if the track, if let's say this locomotive, this was moving on this track and now we have to take it to second track, then there are two possibilities. Either it will go for the shunting operation, it will go somewhere and then it will get back to this track, or a traverser can be used which directly transfers it from one track to another track. Okay, so here we will finish with the 80 questions of railway engineering. In the next video, we will come up with some other subject. Till that, subscribe to this channel and stay updated, and download the app of Winds of Change for the notes and study materials.